Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rolene Marks, your host, bringing you the top stories from Israel and surrounds every Monday to Thursday. Can you believe we're through another week and heading off to the weekend? I must be honest, these days seem to blur into each other, but on we go. Just a quick reminder, if you are viewing this on Facebook, please share as wide as possible. At the moment, we are being censored for any political or news content and would really appreciate your help. Otherwise, you can find us on YouTube. We have a channel there. You can find us at the Israel Brief, and all you have to do is click on the red subscribe button and you will be notified every time we post the day's headlines. So on to the headlines we go, and we start with COVID-19. And Israel has closed off all land boundaries to Egypt and to Jordan. This is in addition to hermetically sealing off our airspace, at least for the current week and maybe into next week. And this is to stop the spread of the variants of COVID-19 that are contributing to a rise in infections. The coronavirus cabinet will debate whether or not to extend the lockdown, which has been recommended by the health ministry. And members of Knesset will also vote on whether or not to increase the amount of I don't want to use the word force, but to rather use the word enforcement on making sure these lockdowns happen. At the moment, a growing problem in Israel is clashes between members of the ultra-Orthodox community and the police who are trying to enforce the lockdowns in those areas. These are communities that have been particularly hard hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, and it is a sensitive issue, and we appreciate that it is a sensitive issue. And we would also just like to reiterate, it is not the whole community, but certain groups within that community. On to other news, and we've been speaking a lot about Iran, and newly sworn in U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has said that the U.S. will only enter into an agreement with Iran when Iran comes to the agreement first. This remains to be seen, because it does seem to be a war of power play words between the two countries. However, earlier this week, Israel's ambassador to the United Nations and to the United States, doing double duty, Gilad Erdan, just before we commemorated World International Holocaust Remembrance Day, which was yesterday, he spoke about the dangers of letting Iran go unchecked, of allowing the Iranian regime to carry on with their anti-Semitic rhetoric and threats to wipe Israel off the planet. He warned that this is not just a threat to Israel, but also a threat to the region. And it has also been speculated that Prime Minister Netanyahu is not going to want to clash with the Biden administration on issues regarding Iran, but to enter into friendly negotiations. And our last story today takes us again to the United Nations and to the US, and we have to ask the question, is the new proposed ambassador from the US to the UN, Linda Thompson-Greenfield, will she be following in the footsteps of Nikki Haley? Nikki Haley served in the previous administration and became a real friend to Israel when she quite bravely and courageously, vociferously stood up to bias at the UN. Now, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, who hasn't been sworn in but is tipped to be the next envoy, has said that she will be dedicated to fighting bias against Israel at the United Nations and also to ensuring Israel's security and regional stability. She has also said that if sworn in, she will make sure to work with Israel and partners to increase the circle of peace. These are very warm words indeed, and she went as far as to say that she regards BDS, the Boycott, Divestment and Sanctions Movement, their activities as verging on anti-Semitic. So we wish her luck. We hope she's sworn in and can continue the great work of her predecessors at the United Nations. So those are the top stories making headlines as we head into the weekend. And like us, many of you are in lockdown around the world and looking for something to do besides chilling and watching TV. So let us help you. You can check out our original content online at our website at www.layoftheland.online. In these times, it is really good to talk about the friendships that we enjoy with other people, and there is a wonderful article by Martine Elperstein that's up on our website, also on our Facebook page. If you are on our Facebook page and you haven't already given us a like or a follow or shared our content, we would really love it if you do so. And don't forget to check with us tomorrow to see where in Israel we will be wishing you Shabbat Shalom from. We've spoken about that YouTube channel. Just a reminder, you can find it at the Israel Brief, and we are also on Twitter. You can find us at Lay of the Land with the digit 5. Lay of the Land with the digit 5. And hey, drop us a message and interact with us there as well. So with today's edition of the Israel Brief, we're going to take a break for the weekend, but we look forward to joining you on Monday with more top stories from Israel. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief from all of us here. Shabbat Shalom, and we'll speak again next week.